The offices want to look like hotels or cool restaurant spaces. Restaurants want to look like restaurants. Dentists want to look like cool coffee bar restaurants. So everybody wants to have a hospitality.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to another episode of 12 TV. I'm Eric Chang and we're here with Chris K.
Good morning.
He is an award-winning designer and CEO of CK Design Associates. They've designed some of the fastest growing restaurants in Canada. You may recognize some of his work around town, such as Canadian Brewhouse, Deluxe Burger Bar, KB & Co, and Original Joe's. Thanks so much for hosting us at your beautiful office here.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I feel like everyone around town knows the name Chris K.
The name.
But for those who don't know you, can you give me the Chris K origin story?
The origin of the name?
No, the person.
Yeah, the person.
Tell me the story.
Well, born in Edmonton, raised a little bit in Edmonton, a little bit in Greece, Athens, Greece, and then educated in Toronto. So definitely been to the big three cities, and I still travel to those three and live in one of them. And that's kind of the foundation of who the brand is and who I am. Residing in Edmonton with three little kids and building the brand and just launched in Vancouver.
Yeah, amazing. What took you to Greece? You were born here. What took you back to Greece?
Grew up in the restaurant biz, so my parents were restaurateurs. And, in the mid-'80s, they thought that they would just unplant their family in the Edmonton region and just move them to Greece to get... probably growing up more in their culture, and they thought that that was the right thing that the kids needed at that time. And we came back definitely, knowing the language and being a lot more Greek. So I guess they succeeded at that.
Was the plan to always come back?
No, I think when I finished high school, I was the guy, right? The guy that just wanted to not live at home.
Right. I
wasn't a home guy, so I told my dad I'm moving. So I didn't really move to, go to Ryerson, but I did move to get away from home.
So your parents are there still?
Parents now have retired in Canada.
Oh, here. Okay.
You bet.
Awesome. How'd you get into interior design? Why interior design?
Interior design, I guess when I came back to Canada and did my grade 13, my English upgrade, the counselors at the school, they kind of try to get you to understand what you're good at and what you want to do with your life. And I was stuck between structural engineering specifically and architecture. And both, one of them specifically did not exist in Edmonton, and then the other one was at the U of A. So I thought I'd try structural engineering. And then after I finished Math 31, I realized that I wanted something more creative. Yeah. And then the instructors pointed out Ryerson and NAIT. Right. So I actually tried NAIT first for 2 years, then Ryerson. So I've done both the technical and the design school of Toronto there.
It gives you a good balance, right?
Correct.
Yeah, in both cities you see.
It's great, and I apply my technical knowledge every day, knowing that a lot of my business is about the quality of our drawings, and we're known for that, right?
Awesome. Why did you start? Yeah, after you finished school, you worked a little bit, right?
You bet.
Why did you start your own firm?
My own?
Yeah.
Well, I always knew that I'd have to work on my own, and I always knew that was in me. I was an entrepreneur. My father's an entrepreneur. My in-laws are entrepreneurs. Everybody around me is that, and I knew I'd go on my own at some point. I didn't think I could do it on my own from day one, right out of school. And so I specifically kind of drove my career. Had the pleasure of working with three, I guess, well-known brands here in town. One was Unigroup and Mike Papadopoulos. Number two was MB Wolski, and that's Marshall Wolski. And I tried also Kasian, which was Don Kasian. So I focused on having that mentorship, and touching those three offices helped me launch my career and my brand in 2008.
Was that always the plan, or to get that experience and then launch your own brand?
Definitely, that's how I had read. I had always read that that's what you do. Right. Again, it was my first time at it, but I knew that I wasn't going to chart my own course. I knew that I would have to study under a teacher and then launch. So I don't know if I aimed for 10 years or not. I did pass the 10-year mark working for others, but I would think that at 10 years, you're probably ready to fly on your own.
Yeah, if that's something you always felt like you wanted to do, then
Yeah, I always mentor my kids here at the office to at 5 years. Like our goal is at 5 years. A typical designer here at our office is they know every angle of the business. We don't wait for 10 years to train them. We think at 5 years they should know every angle of what I do.
right, amazing. Who was your first client when you started your firm?
Oh, and I started this firm in '08. So the first restaurant we knocked out of the park was 100.
Wow,
And that was a Chris LaChan's project.
beautiful location, like just center downtown.
Oh yeah, right at the Westin Hotel, beautiful. And I think it was a huge hit for the Century Hospitality Group and for us. Concurrently, we also did Sabor Divino on downtown on 103rd Street, and still there. We go there before the hockey game, just delicious food.
Yeah.
So both those restaurants, I guess the spaces are still there. 100 has moved on, but definitely Sabor still knocks it out of the park downtown, and I think they're great launching pads for my brand in the boutique restaurants, so the one-ofs. But I also had a lot of chain work at that point
Right.
when I launched my brand.
Right. How did you find that first client? Like, how did LaChan's come to you, or did you reach out to him? Did you take a risk?
I had met him in
first?
'99, so
Yeah.
I had worked with him before. So he definitely was with my brand and with my, like he followed me wherever I went. So technically, I had known him at that point for 9 years.
Right.
We're coming up on 20 years this year. So I've been rolling with that brand, with his group, and he's been rolling with my group or my expertise for 20 years this year.
Awesome. So you just hit that 10-year mark with CK Design.
bet.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We had an awesome party here. So honored to be invited.
It was a great party.
The food was amazing. I have to say the food was out of
Thank
this
you.
world. Yeah.
Another one of our clients. So
Yes.
Albert and his team down at Bottega
Yeah.
put that together. And Bottega is a restaurant we launched on 104th Street a couple
Yes.
years back.
White Ave too?
And White Ave just opened.
Yeah.
That's correct. So the Packer at Louis has now become Bottega White. So we have 2 Bottegas in town and great clients.
Haven't had a chance to go to White Ave there,
Very different from the downtown.
really.
Yeah. So although the 104th Street has that brick and warehouse feel,
Yeah.
as does the White Avenue location, definitely a different room interior wise. As our White Avenue store has a lot more history, as being the. I believe it started off as the Strathcona Tax Department office. So
wow.
it's got a lot of history in the community of Strathcona.
Yeah. 10 years, you've been growing the business.
You bet.
What are some of the hurdles you had over the 10 years?
Hurdles, and I would, you're on your own, so you understand. Our biggest hurdle has been HR. I didn't expect that to be the most difficult hurdle to overcome, and I've read more and more about it over the years, and it is common. The other thing that's very common is marketing, so business development, so getting work in. That's another hurdle. So funny enough, I passed that hurdle the first day. I've never really had a BD issue or getting out there. I'm not really introverted, but definitely focusing on my clients and delivering 10 out of 10s for them has created, stress on the team. So the harder the harder it is to deliver something perfect, it drives the team, to that peak.
Pushes them further.
It pushes and it creates more strife for the team, right? So
Right.
I think one has led to the other.
So you get a project you're extremely proud of. The client's super happy. The BD's and the client giving you referrals and growing and opening more restaurants.
That's right.
Yeah.
But hard on your team.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard. We always use hockey terminology in the office.
Right.
So we think about, going to the Stanley Cup and delivering and winning games and scoring goals. But to have a team, if you can imagine a team, a dynasty, a 10-year dynasty, which we kind of imagine ourselves being,
Yeah.
it's very hard on your hockey players.
You need to have a championship team to win the cup.
But how many years could they last? So that's where I've struggled to keep the team together.
That's what Oilers are struggling to.
And winning constant cups. So I think over the years we've had fantastic players here.
Yeah.
But then the fantastic player, the leader, the design savvy team player needs an assistant, needs a defenseman, needs a really good goalie. So putting together a team in your office and in your creative field or my creative field is always a trick, and they have to play together well, right?
Yeah. For us, it's people first always. That's where we come from. Like, we look at internally first. That's how we create the best projects we can possibly create. And the culture is important, right?
Very
they have to be
important.
happy, and they have to be growing and learning. And I think pushing them past that limit, it's hard, like you said. but when they get there, they're happier and that they've grew, right?
Correct, and I think things take time. So for sure, at 10 years, I'm happy to tell you we've established our culture now, and we've established the business side. So maybe it was harder in the beginning to be culture focused as we were more business development focused. For sure, we are now more able to be culture driven and happier to see our team grow better and fit better now.
Absolutely. You've designed a lot of our client spaces. That's
right.
Got to know
you.
You
Got clients, I got clients, and we have common clients.
Dental offices, corporate offices, everything, restaurants, right? But you niched into, and I see that you found your passion in just hospitality design. How did you get there? I know you mentioned your parents, grew up in the restaurant biz.
Grew up in the restaurant biz, and I think I'm attracted to that risk-taking side of the business, as I'm the risk-taker as well. Mm-hmm. So I'm attracted to a risk-taking client. So for sure, if you're opening $1 million dental space or a $5 million restaurant, that risk you take is what attracts me to that client. So as I've grown a very large hospitality portfolio, over 1,000 restaurants open, running, whatever you
That's
call
a lot
that.
Of restaurants.
A lot of restaurant, right? So we're happy to have a very large portfolio in 20 years. The evolution of that has been that we're happy that offices want to be hospitality driven as well. So they want to hug and invite the staff and build a culture within the space. So we've seen the taste that I've always, kind of chased and been known for start to kind of weave through my office spaces, through my dental spaces, through my retail. We did a lot of weed retail last year. So the cannabis retail booming. Also had a hospitality feel inside. It wasn't clinical at all. So it's interesting that it just fell into my lap that the offices want to look like hotels or cool restaurant spaces. Restaurants want to look like restaurants. Dentists want to look like cool coffee bar restaurants. So everybody wants to have a hospitality. We try to use a term, but it's hard to pronounce, hospitalization. But definitely we see that flavor in all genres now of interior design, commercial interiors.
Yeah. So you love restaurants, grew up in restaurants, designed a ton of them. But it's not just about restaurants and eating experience, but it's the in-person experience at any business, right?
That's right.
That's what it's all about. Talking about restaurants, I wanted to ask your opinion. The dining experience has really changed. With Uber Eats, Skip the Dishes, DoorDash, whatever, millions of things that are growing now. How does that impact the dining experience and your experience in the restaurant?
Yeah, definitely seen a huge change. A lot of our clients are doing really well with those door delivery services, and I think are understanding what it brings to their business and their bottom line. But the challenge is trying to get people out of their house. So trying to create an environment that's attractive enough and to provide people with a reason to leave their home is the challenge. We've seen everything from creating a buzz space, the 2-hour vacation. So going to a restaurant to get away for 2 hours.
I like that term.
Yeah, it's been fun to build these 2-hour vacation spots, all the way to we've done research and or been interviewed for the Edmonton Journal, I believe, locally, on why our spaces are getting so loud. So it's always a fine line. So you want to create that buzz and that reason to bring people out of their homes, but then you push too far and all of a sudden you got a too vibrant space, too loud, too whatever. So it's a fine line. It's hard to build a restaurant for everyone, but we'll continue to just fight that challenge and meet what the market needs.
Mm-hmm. Or is it also building the restaurant for the owner? Do they have a vision sometimes that they want to create that it's for them versus just for bringing people in? Or
most do, and most come to us for that reason.
Yeah.
So over the past 10 years, and probably even before, I've built a reputation for delivering the vision. I don't want a CK sports bar, a CK French dining, a CK chain of healthy eats. For sure, every client we have brings that vision and that stamp, and I'm only here to be the tool and help them stamp that space. So and back to the example of Century Hospitality, definitely we have a client there, Chris Lachance, where his intent, his vision for each location is identified, and he uses our skills, my team, to bring that vision to fruition. It's actually very important that the end result or the end look of the space, or just generally the end feel of the space, be something we feel the client always wanted, And the client often will say it's exactly what I had envisioned. And that's when we know
That's a good feeling.
we got it. Yeah.
As a creative firm, we love that, hearing that as well.
Critical. It's critical that, again, I don't get my stamp. I don't have a certain look. Not interested in a CK look. I'm interested in a CK client.
Right. So, interior design. Some people value it. Some of the misconceptions. Some people think it's, let's just pick the colors of the space and the chairs and the decor, and that's interior design. But it's much more than that. What I really love about your firm is you coined the term, we are experience makers.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me about that?
The experience making is definitely bringing our experience to the table and creating a new experience. So it was coined, I guess, 3 or 4 years ago. We would do a round marketing, like a round table in marketing. We were trying to establish our new website. And what we thought was important was to try to bring our flavor to a coined phrase, and also not forget why our clients come to us. So our clients come to us because of our experience. We think they want their vision envisioned, so what they want in their mind built into a real space. So together we think that's the deliverable. So the deliverable is actually experience making. But for sure, back to your question on how many people value it, it's not consistent. So we can't guarantee that everybody out there wanting to open a restaurant wants experience first. So it's really hard to enforce it or to market only to the people that are looking for that.
But they really should, though, right? Because going to restaurants is about having that 2-hour vacation, having the experience, creating that memorable experience, whatever that is, whether it be special function, eating by yourself, whatever that may be. I think that's what's going to a restaurant is, you have to create something different. And
I think it matters to me too.
Yeah.
I want when I did my website, I wanted an experienced web designer. But I think I've had trouble explaining that to our clientele, and I find that depending on the client, others value it more, right? So it's valued sometimes, and sometimes not valued. Sometimes it's just I want to work with a person regardless of their restaurant design experience.
I think what it is, though, what you really do is bring a feeling to the patrons of the restaurant, and I think that's what's really important because people remember that, right?
They definitely remember. They feel that the space is correctly designed, correctly lit. It feels right. The finishes are you're not falling on the floor due to a slippery finish. The washrooms are to code, etc. But again, you got to find the right client, the right fit for your brand. And I think it applies to every brand, regardless of the genre of business you're in. You can't force people to value experience.
Right.
And everyone has, their own song to sing. We see a lot of restaurants in Edmonton open with first-time designers or with non-design designers. And because the food or the environment turns out to be, actually good, I would go myself. It leaves a lot of questions unanswered on, is experience under or overvalued?
Mm-hmm. Okay. 10 years growth. You've done a great job. What are some tips for people, new entrepreneurs, business owners? How do they get to that 10-year mark, and how do they keep growing? What are some things you can leave for us?
Tips for growing your brand. Definitely the network is number one. So regardless of where you are in your business and what business you're in, because we're not talking just design or your business, there's a lot of different businesses that exist and different entrepreneur values that people bring. But the network is number one. And
you're part of EO, was it?
Yeah, so for us and me personally, EO would be one of my networks. EEA is another strong network for me, the Edmonton Executive, and other groups like that I believe have helped me, spread the word and help me spread my wings in my area of work. So that'd be Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver. So we try to work in that triangle. But for sure, the network and word of mouth is number one for us. Number two, I would say don't try to cut corners. So it's
see so much of that these days.
People
want
a lot
the
of
quick
people.
Fix.
Everybody wants to open a brand without spending $1. So they don't want to print a good card. They don't want to have a good website. They think they can run it out of their house. I think you gotta put some value into your image
and love,
and you have to be welcoming, you have to be open to opening a business, and you gotta trust yourself that it's gonna cost X amount of money to invest and to put out your shingle. So try not to cut that corner, as you don't know who's watching and you don't know how much your client values your business proposition.
Mm-hmm. Something we talked about off camera a little bit is mentorship.
That's right.
Yeah, I think mentorship is something I think everyone, new business owner, should seek, whether it be people in the same industry or outside of industry. And I think you can reach out with social media these days. You can reach out anywhere to someone.
Important. Very important. And I've tried mentorship in my business.
Yeah.
So some of my mentors are actually past designers and they've retired. Others, though, I've seeked are outside of my business. So it's important to not just focus on your genre of work and your specialty.
Yeah.
But it's key to have somebody even outside. And believe it or not, focus on what your weaknesses are. So if you think that you're too introverted and you're not strong in BD, maybe a mentor that's strong in BD can help you.
For sure. I think that's always key.
True.
Get outside your comfort zone, and then there's always people out there that can help you with that.
Always, and of course you can always hire out. So try to hire for your weaknesses and try to stay focused on what you're good at.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your expertise.
For those who are interested in interior design,
yeah.
we're gonna have a lot of listeners who are. How do they get into this field? It's a super exciting field. How do they get into it? How do you get started?
Get started is we think that there's courses and I guess areas of study even in high school. So we've seen some kids take drafting and design, etc., while they're in high school. And then after high school in the Edmonton region, we have a great school, Northern Alberta Institute of Technology. So NATE has a great interior design technology course, a couple of years there. That gets your foot in the door for sure in the commercial design world. But sadly, that is your only option for commercial in the Edmonton region. Calgary has the university where you could take interior design at Mount Royal and get a degree in it there. Beyond that, you got to go BC, Manitoba, Toronto, etc. So there's various other schools that sadly you got to leave town to take. There's no architecture.
It's not a bad thing though.
No, I think you spread your wings. I left, and Toronto taught me a lot.
You bring that back here.
Correct, and you bring that back to your Edmonton hometown.
Yeah. Is there a way to get like real world experience? Is there a way to intern or shadow or at a firm, like get like some real life experience without before going to school?
There is, and we have lots.
See if they love the field first.
Yeah, we have a lot of people that shadow me or over the years have asked to come here for a week.
Yeah, call him. He's taking interns.
Yeah, it's all important. It's important that you, if that's what you want to do, you jump on it. Where I think the most of the confusion is your average student that we see is always torn between what commercial design can do for them and what residential can do for them, as they're two very different fields. So it's common that the kids that come to us, even for that 1 week work week, at that point they're not really sure if they're going to be commercial, office, restaurant, hotel design, whatever, versus show homes and residential. So we understand and we work with them. We try to explain to them the differences, and then hopefully they make up their mind, or they actually tried for a full year, try commercial for 2 years, or try residential for 2 years and then go back and change.
Yeah.
For me, it was always commercial from day one. I never thought that I would go to Ryerson and then end up in residential design. But that was a choice I made. We have Ryerson alumni that are the leaders of residential design in Canada. So, it's not that the school forced me into commercial design.
Yeah. Sometimes it's nice to dabble a little bit, see what you like.
You bet.
Nothing has to be end all be all, right? You can change your mind.
You can change, you can do both. And I think that it's something that we do. So my office will not pursue residential. We just don't have the capacity or the knowledge of that industry. I think it's very specific, where you will find that, and we find that a lot of our residential friends will pursue commercial. So I find that it's very difficult to cross that line, but it works for their business. It doesn't work for ours. It's very difficult to do a home for us.
Yeah, that's not what you do.
No, it's not what we do well. And I think that I don't want to mislead my market and my followers or my clientele to do. And you can imagine if we're doing $2 and $3 and $4 million restaurants, that clientele has a good home.
Yeah.
We don't touch their home.
Have you been asked to do their home?
We have,
right.
And exactly.
Yeah.
So they trust us to do their home, and that's when we back off.
Right. You got to focus.
Yeah, we got to focus on an area, and I think even our library is not residentially angled. So our library of finishes, our connections, we don't design sofas.
Yeah.
So we're just not tooled for that.
Love creating that hospitality experience. That's
Correct.
what your team does.
It's a different field. Commercial is very different.
Wonderful. So you've traveled the world, I see.
Lots of traveling.
Lots of traveling.
Important for the business of what I do and to expand my horizon and my knowledge of what looks good.
And you bring the kids.
Bring the kids. The kids like to travel. Yeah.
Who doesn't?
Yeah. Often it's just, depending on where their school is and where we are and what season, we like to take them away.
Yeah. Favorite restaurants around the world?
Around the world.
Top three.
Top three. Oh, this is a good one. We were fortunate to be in Portugal for Thanksgiving, and we got to go to a Michelin restaurant. So my kids were always puzzled that they would hear this brand on TV, Michelin star. So that was our first Michelin star experience with Jose Alvarez. So he's a Portuguese Michelin star chef. So they were very impressed. I think obviously they understand that name from television. From their cooking shows. My kids like cooking, all of them. So they're attracted
Are they going to get into the restaurant biz?
Yeah, it's interesting. I guess it's just
Skips
in
the
the family because I'm not a chef, nor do I profess to be one. But I think my kids are very interested in that, the cooking scene. And maybe it's just because that's what I would elect to watch on TV. So they know what that star means and what it means to a restaurateur to have that in his repertoire or his portfolio. So it was pretty exciting to take them to a Michelin star restaurant.
Any other restaurants? You go to Vegas lots. What's your stopover in Vegas when you're there for a show or for vacation?
Luckily there is because being Greek, I like to hit at least one Greek restaurant. So we're just in Palm Springs. We hit our favorite family there, the Kutuki family. In Vegas, I try to hit the Cosmopolitan. And
what do you like at the Cosmo?
At the Cosmo Hotel, we go for Greek, right?
Oh, yeah,
so Milos is at the Cosmo, so that's a great little restaurant and does well. And Milos started in Montreal and now is expanding around the world. We see him opening another one in New York, I heard, and Dubai. Obviously, Miami's open.
Mm-hmm.
He's in Athens, so it's a great brand, and he's done very well for a Canadian restaurateur.
So in town, doesn't have to be your own restaurant. What are your favorite go-to spots?
Doesn't have to be my own. That's a really tough question. I like to go depending on where the chef and or who is doing a good job. So a good example, when we talked about him earlier, is Chef Lino at Sabor. So I being like a seafood lover, gotta have that dose of seafood. Italian for sure. We just run to Bottega or I think Albert and his team there do a really good pizza, a really good pasta. Greek is tough. Edmonton's had good Greek, average Greek, good Greek, average Greek. So we've been up and down the Greek path. Yeah. So
what would be your favorite then?
Yeah, we take the family to Yanni's lots on White Avenue.
Yeah, that's your favorite?
Yeah, Jimmy does a really good job there. Jimmy and Tammy at Yanni's have knocked it out of the park, and a great looking space too.
Right. How about coffee shop? Do you have a go-to coffee shop?
Coffee. No, I don't. I like my coffee, but I don't know if I'm a coffee connoisseur.
Aficionado.
Just definitely on 124th Street, our go-to coffee is Credo, just down the street, and it's good to connect there with my clients. And my clients love Credo.
Jeff does a good job there.
And Jeff does a really good job, and obviously he's expanded across Edmonton. So wherever we are, depending on where I'm meeting my clientele, I got 3 to pick from easily, right?
Yeah. I've worked with your wife, Rula.
Yeah.
Amazing person. And you also have 3 beautiful daughters. How do you balance growing a business, working 24/7, taking them to soccer, family life, 3 kids, a lot of things? How do you work-life balance when working with Rula? How do you bring that into your schedule?
Difficult, especially the first few years when we launched the brand in 08, 09, 10. Obviously, the city and the market, and you saw what happened with the stock market. That crash was hard on the family, as I had to just turn up the heat here at the office and spend more hours. So it was hard, but
does that mean more BD? Does it mean more networking, more meetings, more grinding? What is
more of everything?
What turning up the heat?
Yeah, turning up the heat means you gotta be out there pounding the pavement. You'd be surprised what you can do after 5 p.m. for your business. Mm-hmm. So although you're beat, and that's a share to a lot of entrepreneurs listening to us, although you're beat from the 7 to 5 run or the 6 to 5 or 6 to 6, as I seem to work more, what happens from 6 to 8 is critical, or 5 to 8. So get out there, put on your dancing shoes and go to the local restaurant, bars, hangouts, go to the games and be seen. It's not ever going to hurt your business to be seen and to shake some hands, kiss some babies, and hand out the business card. So, I've mastered that part of the business. I'm seen everywhere. I told you I've joined the groups. I'm a member XYZ. So to be seen and to be out there and participate in the commerce community of Edmonton, I think is very important.
So Rula understood. You're not always home with the kids because you're out there pounding the pavement.
Rula played a huge role in supporting the family. And I would say that being a partner, a 50% partner of the brand, has helped, especially on the backside. So everything from marketing, because of her degree in marketing, to the accounting side and dealing with the CAs and the bookkeepers that we have. So definitely having somebody watch, the billing side, and in me watching the creative side. Remember, it's a balance, right? So what I would tell all the kids that work here, or the kids that come and work for us or mentor with us or stay for a week, is you have elected to be part of the design business, and that is always going to be two words. So it's design and business. So be focused on being a good designer, but also being a good businessman to survive, the ups and downs of the business. It's a very difficult industry to, have a long career in. And I would say it's also just as difficult to make a buck. And it's been proven to be not a very high paying and a rewarding career choice for a lot of people. So I'd say it's just the business we're in and the value that the public has for interior design that's been hard to just, promote and win at.
Where do you find time to be creative? There's design and business, like you said, but your days jam-packed from 8 a.m. till
mostly
9 p.m.
business.
When do you get time to do the creative side, the stuff,
My good creative juices are typically 6 to 8, so the early morning before the phone starts ringing, 6 to 9.
Early riser.
Yeah, early riser. If you get those good 3 hours at your desk with some good rice paper, I think you can put out exactly what you need and what the brand needs. So to design direct, that happens. And of course, after 4 or 5 o'clock, it starts to slow down as well. So after 4 or 5, I find myself, before I hit the pavement and to go to see clients at their restaurants or at hockey games, I think it's a good opportunity to design, develop at that part of the day as well.
You never take me to hockey games.
We got to go to the Oilers. Why
sure.
not? Maybe we'll win when you're there.
Yeah, hopefully.
Maybe a good luck charm.
Off question.
Sure.
Okay. Top 3 apps on your phone right now. Go to.
Believe it or not, I'm always flying somewhere. So it's funny that WestJet is a big part of what I do and traveling. So it could be an Air Canada app or a WestJet app because we got to get out of Edmonton to go to Vancouver, go to Calgary. So traveling lots. That's been good. Number 2, I would say that our pipeline app is important, where we plug in our leads. So it's like a CRM app.
What do you use for that?
We use no CRM, I believe it's called, is the app. So it's actually just a fun word that plays on a CRM / pipeline type of an app. So what I do is I plug and I take pictures and I put together, who I'm talking to, picture of their card is what I meant. And then we follow up on that lead with my team. So we need to track who we're talking to, who needs a fee letter, and where we're going with that individual.
Awesome. What's next and exciting for yourself and the business?
New and exciting. Vancouver's very exciting for us. That's new market for us. Definitely a very strong hospitality market there. And we're seeing immediate results by chasing that market. And just, visiting it twice a month is very exciting for me, getting away from the day-to-day experience in Edmonton and seeking a new market. I think it's something that some entrepreneurs have and some don't. To me, I like seeking a new market, so I like new...
You like challenges.
Yeah, to me, it's a huge challenge. I'm very unfamiliar, memorizing all of downtown Vancouver, where you are. So I'm a new person. So a new person to that market. So bringing my chest of tools, my toolbox to Vancouver has been real exciting.
That's cool. How about yourself? I hear there's a video series in the works for yourself as well.
You bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to finish off our studio, which is behind the wall here. Once we have our TV studio kind of built, we can start to bring in design experts, hospitality experts, dental, etc. So people that we either work with or people we want to work with, and interview them with your team and your assistants to put that out on the market. I think it's time that, we've reached a point where we're 10 years in the business. It's time to spread our knowledge. I think the community and the entrepreneurs out there want to see what we know. And I think that shared community is probably where I want to be. I think I want to share the knowledge that I have, the knowledge my clients have with the world. I think it's going to build a better business and a better brand.
It's giving value.
That's
what
right.
You're doing.
I think it's important.
100%.
And I think, hogging it or being more of an armpit kind of designer is not really my character. I think giving back and growing the brand by giving back is important.
Wonderful. Really, really looking forward to that.
Now, I think it's gonna be fun, and lining up the first 2 interviews, because we talked about how we're gonna interview these people.
Yeah.
The first 2 are gonna be the home runs. So hopefully we finish fast enough so we can film it.
Looking forward. Thanks so much for
thanks for
today.
coming by.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thanks everyone.